vibe. Come let we lime, come let we vibe. Lime vibe. Oh, lime vibe.
Good
Got
evening,
it.
everybody. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming on another episode of the LimeVibe podcast. I'm your host, Yori Kemp, and I'm here today with my guest, Mr. Kemal Nicholson, all the way from Dubai, isn't it, Kemal?
That's
From
correct. Yes, Dubai,
Dubai.
UAE.
Dubai, UAE, by way of Antigua and Barbuda, isn't it?
That's correct. That's correct. I'm an
Okay.
Antiguan national based out in Dubai, UAE.
Okay, so what are you doing out there in Dubai, Kemal?
Um, I have a RCBI company. RCBI is Residency and Citizenship by Investment. So my company specializes in the second citizenship market of the Eastern Caribbean. But not only, we also assist our clients with getting residencies to the UAE and other new fledgling programs that appear from time to time. We assist our clients with with getting various residencies and citizenships across the world.
Okay. So how's business going with you?
Sorry?
How's business going with you?
Oh, it's excellent. I mean, we cannot complain. Um, uh, right now, certain markets are more active than others. You see, the Russian market is very active due to the
Oh, wow.
situation with Russia at present. The Chinese market, obviously, always very active, and huge influx of immigrants to the UAE as well. Mostly from the CIS countries, the ones mostly affected by the ongoing crisis, which is Russia and Ukraine.
So you've been seeing an influx of Russian nationals. So tell me, how much passports do you do a month, you think?
I mean, I wouldn't want to go into too many details, and let me just cut to the chase. I'm not a huge corporation. It's not 50, 60 people. I like to tell people that this is a startup. So obviously I have a background in terms of 4 years working in the Russian Federation. I speak Russian, and huge clientele to back that. But so far as the company C Invest Migration is concerned, this is a very new entity that is probably just a few months old. And I have a very small team of people who assist me. We're looking obviously to do this long term, even though there are inklings and rumors that the industry may be coming to a grinding halt. And I'm sure we'll discuss that as we go on further. But to answer your question, we do very well proportionately to the size of the team, which is very small. So we're processing several clients right now for Eastern Caribbean countries. And as any business would like to do, we want to expand and do more as time goes on. We're not obviously we're not Henley Partners. We're not one of these huge global corporations, but we're doing very well.
Okay. So you said something about Russia. So tell me about your time in Russia. How was the Russian experience for you as a Black Caribbean living in Russia?
Well, I studied in Russia. I studied political science in Russia, studied at the People's Friendship University of Russia. That is an international university set up for students, from across the world, really. So I studied in a very international setting in Russian. I was able to pick up the Russian language very quickly. In terms of my experience as as you said, Black person, it's not really something that the color of the skin, if to cut to the chase, was not an issue in Russia, especially because I was a student and studied in an international setting, etc. You don't feel any different. Moscow is definitely a world center, so it's not like people are unaccustomed to seeing foreigners of different colors, shapes, and sizes in Moscow itself. So that was a good experience. Learning Russian was a good experience. Working for 4 years on the CBI market in Russia was a good experience. Um, you know, speaking Russian fluently is something that definitely not every Tom, Dick, or Harry can do. So that was a good skill that I picked up,
Very good, very
in
good, very
Russia.
good. So you found your way to Russia because you wanted to go to school. You get a scholarship to go to the Friendship University, or
That's correct. I got a government scholarship from the government of Antigua and Barbuda. That
wow.
was some years ago, and completed my studies, completed my degree in political science,
Mhm.
and and then went on to work for 4 years there.
Okay.
Before at this stage, obviously, we're moving away from government-based background into like private sector, which is
Yes.
business.
Yes. Yes. And the government of Antigua didn't ask you to come back to Antigua. That's strange.
Well, given the fact that I served the Caribbean, by it's really one window at the end of the day. Despite any little in bickerings which islands may have, I think I did serve quite stealthily the Grenadian mission
Okay.
in Moscow, and anyone can attest to that. So I believe that taking that into mind, the government was quite lenient with me.
Okay. Okay. That's
Because
good.
I've,
That's good.
I've given back, you see. Yes.
So you said Grenada. How did you get involved with the Grenadian government when you were actually an Antigua national?
Well, I studied political science, and when the mission opened, I was just one of the few candidates who actually spoke Russian very well and had a good background in terms of the language, and was able to work in terms of assisting the mission.
Okay.
Um, uh, Came down, I believe, to a numbers game. We're very few, obviously, Caribbean people. So me being there and me having that skill set was a bonus. Me speaking Russian fluently, etc. I think it was a great bonus. So yeah.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good, Kamal. You have a very interesting background, man. But tell me a bit about you growing up in Antigua. How was life for you in Antigua?
It was great. I went to the St. Joseph's Academy, is the premium boys' school on the island, private school. So I went to the St. Joseph's Academy. I went to the Antigua State College. My mom, well-known librarian at the State College, she'd worked there for years. And I'm from a middle class background. Obviously, my father is an accountant. My mom, a well-known librarian. I went to private school, and then after that, I took advantage of the opportunity that I got to go off to Russia, because for me it was just an opportunity. If everybody is going to the UK or US, and this is something that even if today there is some issue, 10 years
Yes.
down the line, there's only going to be a handful of Caribbean people who
Speak
lived in
Russian.
Russia and spoke Russian. That is a skill set, my friend.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's really that simple. From normal middle class, typical Caribbean, very religious family. Christians. And I went off to Russia, and that the rest is history, basically.
Wow. It's funny how your life has turned around because you made one decision to go left rather than go right. You decided to go to Russia rather than going to the United Kingdom or the United States. And what an amazing choice, man. Did you have that in your mind that you know that you were going to be valuable in the next 10, 15 years or so?
No, as obviously as Caribbean people, we come from very small countries, and at oftentimes, there's several limitations as to how far we can go if you have ambition, right? Because we come from small countries, and so going after Russia, obviously, as any Caribbean who would have left, the Caribbean during the Windrush generation, for instance, to go
Yes.
after the UK or the US, you never really know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's true.
You just know that there's gonna be this opportunity, and you're gonna fully give yourself to it, and then see what becomes of that. Obviously, had planned in mind to finish political science. I had several ideas. Perhaps I go back after I finish, and serve politically in Antigua.
Oh wow, you want to run for office?
Yeah, but with time, I've understood that perhaps that is not what I would like to do with, with my life, and
Yeah.
and this is with all due respect to all the politicians, I have only respect for them, but there was a time when obviously coming from the Caribbean, you look around, these are the gentlemen you want to emulate. As you swim out further and more opportunities become available, like, do I really
Yes.
need that? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, indeed,
like,
indeed, indeed. Because
yeah,
politics is a cutthroat game, man. I ran for office
well,
once, and it is.
right.
It killed you.
Hmm.
It killed your career, it killed your spirit. Only God could bring you back up after crushing defeat and after you've been sullied and being slandered, man. Only God could bring you back up to the top. So
Right. So it's not something that's for everybody. It's a very bloody sport, and it's best left to those who do it professionally and
your
do it
profession,
well.
right?
Kudos to
That's
them.
right. That's right. Well, I could see you in the foreign service though. You look like you're a diplomatic person. You look like you have the savoir faire to serve in the foreign service. To be a foreign affairs minister one day. I could see that in you if you were to give it a
Yeah, I mean,
chance.
with time, what we have learned in life, despite various ups and downs, it's life. Life has its ups and its downs. Is patience, not to rush things, not
Yes.
to seek to put the cart before the horse.
Mm.
Very important to maintain relationships. Be
Yes.
amicable with people. Oftentimes, because I had a political science training, I didn't have a diplomatic, so to speak, training.
Wow.
Right, these are some of the limitations that we had in terms of whatever. I had a political science training, but being diplomatic and um, learning these things as it goes with time. I'm 34 years
Yes.
old,
Yeah.
so
Okay. Okay. You got plenty of time to go, man.
so right, so these things come with time, but several opportunities available for now is just business,
Mm.
because there is this opportunity in the world of RCBI. I'm sure we'll touch on this later, but it's really such an interesting, um, for me. At one point, my love was really politics, etc. But
Mm.
as a subject, but
Mm.
RCBI, it was like every day some new program
Mm.
um pops up, and they're all so interesting, and and it's like drinking water, like people have
Wow.
to do it. You need to like relocate somewhere. You need to get a visa,
Mm.
to like relocate. It's just happening, right? So I've really come to really love that world. So I could see myself, even if I move later on in life into the foreign service or whatever, as a business, as a means of staple of income, and
Mm.
as something that I love, I will always continue in this field of RCBI.
Wow, wow. Well, let's talk about CBI now, then citizenship by investment. It's been under attack as of late, man. What do you feel about these attacks? Are people thinking that it's being subject to abuse, and particularly with regard to Russian nationals and Eastern European nationals trying to get passports? What do you feel about this attack by the United Kingdom and the United States?
I think that the obviously countries have the right to ensure that their national integrity and their borders are being protected,
Mm.
and so I think it's a justifiable sort of reaction, especially on the cusp of what's happening internationally. So I think it's not a knee jerk reaction. It's
Mm.
something that they didn't wake up overnight and be like shut down the programs. They've been
Yeah.
observing, collecting data, you know, um, having various dialogues with the governments in the Caribbean.
Mm.
And I think, obviously there is a concern that, as to the security impacts, right,
Mm-hmm.
that the programs could have. As it relates to Russian nationals having lived here,
Mm.
obviously, from my side, you would only hear a more amicable sort of feeling towards them. I mean, if you haven't lived in a place, then for you it's like cold territory. Either what you've heard or what you've seen or what is
Yeah,
being fed to you. If you've
yeah.
lived in the place, then it's a different type of. So I'm not overly bothered or concerned by Russian, since I understand the culture, I love the culture, I speak the language.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the people.
Mm-hmm.
These are typical day-to-day people, most of them, and the ones who are applying for programs are actually quite wealthy. If they have the funding that is required in order for them to attain these passports, then they're quite wealthy, and they're looking to leave their countries because of various issues that are taking place there. I think the Caribbean programs are very well set up in terms of due diligence. It's a very rigid process that takes months, and it's not just pay money and get the citizenship. It's reviewed. There's nothing under the table, and so I think that there is room obviously for concern by these countries. You have logically. I mean, if you get a Caribbean passport, you can travel to the EU or you can travel to the UK, and I guess that's the loophole that they're afraid of. If it was just something that could allow someone to live in the Caribbean, then that would be our concern. So it's rightful that they have an issue with that, but I think that in some shape or form, the programs actually serve to make the world more secure.
Explain that.
Because people are going to migrate anyway, right? People have been migrating for centuries. Mankind is migration, I mean, and only in recent times have structures been put in place to like sort of control these measures. So you get your passport systems and border patrols and CBI. RCBI is just like the newest form of control for migration. Really, it's actually come about that it allows this wealthier class of people to properly be filtered. Because before the industry was formed, the industry was really like formed like around 30 years ago, right? 30 to 40 years ago. Wealthy people were doing things like this. They were just showing up to like some small Eastern Caribbean state with a, like whatever, like can I get a citizenship? And then it was just dialogue between them and whoever was in power. And then, and you find a whole swath of, beachfront, communities just being, it's like all wealthy people. Where they show up from, nobody knows. And now you have RCBI, which is regulated. So there's like IMC, which is the International Immigration Council. There's, and they're based in Brussels. It's a serious organization, and you have to really they have like lobbyists and people like that. So it's really
business.
Right. It's not just like serious business. It's just like this is how it should. Like it's like 20, 30 years ago, it was the same thing with other industries like bottled water or whatever, not 30 years ago, but like 100 years ago, people didn't have bottled water, right? They just plucked water from the pond and drank it, and then it shows up this bottled water industry and it's regulated. So my point is that the concerns are rightful. The concerns are rightful. It is good and it is right and it is acceptable that the EU or the UK should have concerns, and actually, they're really reviewing in a more serious and stringent manner all of the Eastern Caribbean programs. I think we saw that article come out a few days ago because they're afraid that it poses a security threat to them. So this is right, but at the same time, the actual mechanism of CBI is doing them a huge favor because you don't just get like these applicants showing up directly to your door. You're applying through an internationally scrutinized procedure for a passport of a third party state, right? So it's not like your citizenship. They're not getting British citizenship or EU citizenship, whatever. They're applying for a third party state citizenship, which will be heavily scrutinized. And in any event, people have to move. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking like, logically, right? So people have to, if there is an ongoing conflict, people will move.
Yes.
They're going to either run or hide or whatever, they are going to move. So the actual mechanism of having that ultra wealthy class go through this due diligence process is actually better for the EU and the UK, because then we're able to like know who we're dealing with. We can say
Yes.
Mr. Tom or Mr. Harry applied
Mm.
for an whatever Caribbean passport, and we reviewed them, and we found that Mr. Tom was okay, but Mr. Harry was, he didn't pass the litmus test, and so we denied him. As against the Mr. Harry showing up to the UK, with his briefcase full of cash, trying to, it's actually a very good filter for them if you look at it in that way.
Well, speaking of conflict, how much have Russian nationals started to apply for citizenship by investment after this Russian versus the Ukraine conflict has really come about? I mean, how big of a spike have you seen?
The numbers have been astronomical. I mean, this is open data. This is not Kemal talking or whatever. The numbers have actually been quite astronomical. If you look at Grenada, which is the only country that's open right now for citizens of Russia, that the numbers attest to that. That they've seen their application of the number of applications skyrocketed to the roof, basically.
Wow.
And that's what I'm saying. This is logical. This is not a knee-jerk reaction, and it's good that we have an industry in place that we can measure that quantitative data. So there's this situation going on in in these countries, and a number of migrants wish to get this passport, due to this situation.
So you're saying that Grenada is the only country that's allowing Russian nationals now?
At present, they're the only country that from the Eastern Caribbean that's officially processing. Yeah.
Why is that so, you think?
I mean, I can't speak on that. It's above my level of obviously understanding. I'm just a lowly consultant. But that is how it is at the moment.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so the numbers have been astronomical, man. That's crazy. I would imagine it would be so, because this conflict came out of nowhere. I mean, even though it's been bubbling up over the last, I would say, 7 years or so, right? This Russia/Ukraine conflict is really taking everybody by surprise. And no one really expected Russia to do what they did. And even though it's been bubbling up for the past, 10 years, 15 years or so, no one expected that Russia to actually pull the trigger on it, but they have. And now we're stuck in this war. We're probably on the brink of World War III. And now people want to leave that side of the world. So have you been seeing, what about Ukrainians? Have you been seeing Ukrainians get passports?
For those countries to which they can apply, yes, obviously they've been applying in huge numbers. But with respect to Ukrainians, because they're on the side of in many people's eyes, they're on the receiving side of the conflict. They've had more easier measures applied to them in terms of them migrating to the European countries. So, for instance, without investing, Ukrainians were just allowed to move to nearby countries due to the situation. If you see what I'm saying, so they were allowed to migrate to Poland and nearby countries as quote unquote refugees of the war situation.
So they didn't really need a Caribbean passport.
I think that the numbers as it relates to Ukrainians are less than the Russians who are applying, due to the fact that amnesties are being granted for Ukrainians, and they're just being allowed to, for instance, Portugal as well made it very easy for citizens of Ukraine to move to Portugal after the conflict began. So we see less of a number of Ukrainians applying than Russians for the typical CBI.
Wow. Okay. That's good. Come on, it sounds like you have a budding business, then you know exactly what's going on. You have your finger on the pulse of that side of the world, man.
Well, I mean, if you're in a business, you really have to understand it. You need to be following all of the data, and you need to be professional. So I speak with my clients. This is exactly the mannerism in which I address these issues. If they ask me where's the best place for them to apply for country, I give them quantitative data based on research and happening trends within the industry.
Yes. That's good. Kamal, you're an interesting person, man. I really have to say that. And it's funny that we met under such dubious circumstances where people were trying to slander your good name. So have you gotten that matter cleared up yet? With this couple you
Um,
said that you were trying to, yeah? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that the fire has been put out.
Mhm.
Thankfully. I mean, I guess it's part of entrepreneurialism in
Mhm.
that sense that fires will arise from time to time.
Yes.
I'm even
Yes.
honored, to some extent. I'm even honored um, that people are writing about me, because it shows
Wow.
that if somebody writes about you, it really shows that that you
That you're
are
somebody.
relevant. So to speak.
Indeed.
Unfortunately, that led to some other consequences. But
Mhm.
it's it was a very painful experience. I will say that,
Mhm. Mhm.
very painful experience. But we just move on.
Mhm.
We move on, and most important is that, as I said, I believe that fire was put out, and I can now move on with the task at hand, which is my main business, which is RCBI.
So, but you lost your ambassadorship to Antigua from Antigua and Barbuda to Russia, didn't you?
Well, I was never an ambassador.
Mm.
Then there's I was a special envoy, which is
Mm.
they're totally not an
Totally
ambassador. So
different. Okay.
I was accredited officially
Mm.
as a diplomat for 4 years as a first
Mm.
secretary,
Mm.
um, from uh, from Grenada to Russia,
Mm.
and then Antigua would have granted me a special envoy post. So this
Mm.
was the second concurrent year that it was running. So I fulfilled one term. This was the
Mm.
second concurrent year that it would have run, but they chose to terminate based on whatever news report came out. Obviously, not something that any country would want to see of its representative. I
Yes.
make no qualms or issues with the PM for taking whatever course of action
That's
he
Gas and Brown.
yeah, I mean, he had to take uh, relevant course of action,
Mm.
as the head of the country that he deemed fit. And I respect that.
So
He's the
how
leader
does
of the
it
country.
feel? How do you feel that? How does it make you feel that someone lied on you like that? How does it make you feel that someone basically put out a hit job on you with no facts, nothing to back it up, no relevance, no proof, and just slandered you? Like, how does that make you feel?
It's a bit concerning, it's a bit concerning, to be honest. And I mean, to this day, it concerns me
Mm.
that this was the road that was taken.
Mm.
Um, it's definitely something strange.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
very, very unusual.
Mhm.
That something can show up and that then it just But I don't want to dwell on that.
Okay,
I
okay.
that as I said, if that was done, then from the point of view of business,
Mm.
it means that I'm very relevant,
Relevant. Yep.
very happening. So I think that you know uh, it means I was doing something well business wise, and
Mm.
hope we can grow from that. But the action itself is very concerning. Not typically something that you see of a free press in the Caribbean. That's
Mm.
all that I can say
Wow. So you think it
about
came
the
from the
matter.
outside? You think it came
I
from any
don't I
people?
don't know, but I'm just saying it's not
Mm.
about whether it came from the outside or not. I'm
Mm.
just saying that you don't typically see the press in the Caribbean operating in that manner.
In that fashion, no, no, no.
As a Caribbean person, you typically don't see that type of action. So
Yeah.
that's where I would leave the matter.
Mm.
And we've obviously, as I said, that fire has been extinguished.
Extinguished.
So
Yep.
we bury that chapter, and we move on.
Good, 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 good. So what about your competition though? Who are you competing against? How's the competition looking at you
Well, I mean, I don't have it. Me personally, I don't have any
now?
competition. I
Everybody
don't
has
know.
competition, man. Everyone has a rival.
Yeah, but I'm not. I don't know these people. Like
Mm. Wow.
like I don't know. It could be. my rivals could be anybody just looking at me and like, oh, why, this guy, who is he? What, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be the whole industry. I don't know.
Wow.
It could be the whole industry,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, concocting against, my rise or whatever. So I don't know. Like, my aim, however, is just to be professional, not to make conflicts with anyone within the industry, not to have that type of rivalry, because obviously it's not professional. But let me say that it happens. In any business, first of all, you're in journalism. I'm sure that there's it could get hectic from time to time, maybe between media entities, or
Yep.
maybe inter office, even like issues,
Yep.
with people. So I don't think what happened to me is unusual in terms of, it's just that it happened to me, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's why it's a bit painful. But I think that it happens in business, especially in our business. It's obviously a very niche market, type business. I'm honored that that I'm in it. Talking about a very small, closed industry that is very, controlled. And for me to have a working, functioning entity on this side of the world, um, I think that was the litmus sort of test, that I had
Yes.
to
Yes.
pass
Yes.
to,
Yes. Yes.
to get into the industry.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
so it is what it is.
I got you. I got you. So
Yeah.
we went from Dubai to Russia. We went from Dubai to Antigua and Barbuda to Russia and Grenada. So how is it all packaged into the Kemal Nicholson we have now? How does all these things really affect your outlook for the CBI moving forward and what you see on the ground? I mean, how do you see CBI going in 2023, 2024?
I foresee the industry. Okay, so if you read the news,
Mhm.
you will panic. Because there's so, that the EU is actually giving the Caribbean programs like 2 more years, to
Wow.
actually even exist,
Wow, 2 more
right?
years.
Yeah,
Why? Why is that
yeah,
so?
yeah. Um, I think, obviously, due to the ongoing situation, and more and more, as you said, individuals getting citizenships from outside of the Caribbean, which they deem as a sort of threat.
Mm.
I think that they've obviously given it a 2-year mandate, and they want to
Mm.
wind that up in 2 years. But at the same time, um, it's just, I don't see, like, so okay, just logically speaking, I mean, in 2 years, okay, all the mechanisms that have been put in place for years to properly manage this type of migration, you're just gonna, like, throw it away. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, that can't
Because
be right.
these things take time to be built.
Yes.
And as with any industry, once it's there, then
Mm.
the existing structure is just gonna be a stepping stone for something else,
Mm.
right? There's no way that people are going to stop migrating, right?
Mm.
So there's no way that countries, and I mean, the US is actively promoting its EB5 program and its E2 and etc.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes,
that's never going to stop,
yes,
right?
yes.
I
They can do
mean,
it.
there may be a new hotspot which comes up. It may not be the Eastern Caribbean countries anymore, but
Mm.
Singapore has a program now. UAE is doing a 10-year golden visa.
Mm.
So for the entire industry to collapse, no, that's not going to
Mm.
happen, right?
So
For sure.
how do you see the Dubai Golden Visa working? Are you working on that program, or is that something that you're just watching from the periphery?
I just at this present time, we just watched that from the side. I have not actively provided the clients with much Dubai services. We've helped one or two people get residencies, but that's
Mm.
about as far as it goes. Um, but in terms of in terms of the golden visa, I think that that's a very good program, and I think obviously we see a lot of investors who are actively getting that.
Mm. The Golden Visa. How old is the
Yeah.
Golden Visa now? How old is that Golden Visa now?
It's a very new program in UAE. It's just a few months old.
Few months old. Wow. Okay, okay.
That's Yeah, that's correct. So,
Mm,
and I mean, they do this based on researching the market as well and seeing that, hey, this works for this person and this works for
mm.
that person. So yeah, they also do it based on that.
One thing I wanted to ask you, though, how does one get into selling the CBI business? I mean, how did you walk into that? You just started just selling passports and visas? How did that happen?
No, I mean, as I said, basically having worked for 4 years in Moscow,
Mm,
having a sort of consular background for 4 years, we just decided at this
mm,
point to get into the business,
mm.
right?
Okay.
After 4 years of having, we know a lot of clients, we know how the business works, so we just decided to go into business, and
So where you incorporated? You incorporated in Moscow or Dubai or Antigua?
we're incorporated in Antigua and in the
Antigua.
UAE.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and in the UAE, right?
Mhm.
So I would say that we had a hard entry into the business,
A hard
so
entry.
to speak.
Wow.
Yeah, not a soft entry, but
Mm,
it's not the easiest business to get into. And I think separate and apart from the fact that, as I said, I was never an ambassador, so it's not like I had my ambassadorship revoked. An
yeah.
envoy is a non-diplomatic title.
Yes.
It just has certain functions to carry out.
Mm,
So I think separate and apart from what transpired with that,
mm.
having an article written about me with obviously very slanderous, etc., is typical stuff in this business for newbies.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's just that if I didn't have this Antiguan post, it would have that went on to grow further legs, and
Mm,
that is a situation that I also had to extinguish. But I think obviously being the new boy on the block,
mm,
that's the sort of entry that I got into the business, which is kind of normal because, as I said, it's a niche, very niche business, very
mm.
niche business. Yeah.
Gotcha. Extremely niche, man, because I don't know of anybody else your age selling passports and visas. Yeah, you're like an anomaly, Kamal. Like there's nobody else like you out there. You speak Russian, you live in Dubai, you sell passports in the Eastern Caribbean. I mean, that's a pretty strange background you have. I wouldn't say strange, but it's a pretty unique background you have.
It's unique. It's a very unique type situation, and all the players in the game, you can name them on probably one hand, two hands,
No,
maximum two
what
hands.
about you?
One hand, on one hand, you could name all the top players for sure, and
Mm,
two hands, that's probably the whole industry. So,
mm,
I mean, it's just like trying. Oh no, was he trying to trying
yeah,
to get in trying to get in on, but then at the end, okay, what to do, type
yeah,
situation.
yeah. That's strange, man, because the big plays are Savory and Co, right? Savory and Partners.
Well, Savory Co's that would obviously be a big one. Yeah, we're not, even Savory Co is definitely years in the business. There's
Mm.
other giants, obviously, in the industry like Henley and
Yeah, Henley
Partners.
Partners. Yeah,
They've actually these are pioneers in the business.
yes,
you know, um, but then there's other companies like Apex
mm,
Capital. Um,
yes.
so it's a lot of different
You're
players,
nowhere
and
near
there's
them.
no, so
Yes, humble guy.
for
You have
me
any
to,
partners, Kamal?
we have several individuals who assist us in terms of,
Mm.
but by partnership you mean like like working B2B client wise, etc. Yeah, we
Yes.
have a lot of such individuals. Yeah.
Wow, wow. So how's your partnership been affected by the scandal you went through?
No, I mean, no, my partnerships are fine. I mean,
Mm.
we've just had to explain people what's taking place. The thing is, in this business, a scandal can only affect you on a exterior type of level, because if you read something about me, then okay, oh wow, this is what's happening, right?
Mm.
But if you've actually assisted people with doing this before and they know you, then it's just they understand what's happening,
Mm.
right? So that's like that's like, noise for outside people to like jump and get, shaky, or, like, oh no, we don't want to deal with it, this guy, or, type of situation. But if you actually have partners who you've worked with and they've relayed clients to you, and, like you've done business with them, etc., then there's no issue.
There's no issue at all. Wow. That's good. That's good
Oh,
you rebounded, man. That's
yeah,
good, man. Because at the
yeah.
end of the day, it's all
But
about helping.
I was really surprised, it's still, when I think about it, it's very traumatic type of situation. But as I said, for that to happen, it really means I must be doing something. Yeah. So
Yes. Doing something right. That's right. Doing
right,
something right.
right. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
My only thing is, I would have hoped that in terms of Antigua, that they would have at least given some time for, more proper explanation. But as I said, he's the prime minister, and I fully back his decision. And he has to do it. Is this difference between business and politics, and perhaps it was not the best idea to even intertwine the two, so to speak, because then people can use that, right?
Yes, indeed. But I'm glad you got rid of it. Because he does not want re-election. How do you feel about that?
That's great. I think I think that if you talk about leadership in the Eastern Caribbean, I think that the Antigua Labour Party, first of all, is definitely the grassroots party in Antigua. And it's the foundation party, really. This is how the island came or gravitated from its period of emancipation, post-colonialism,
that's a great
into independence.
That's the bird, right?
Right. So the root is there, the pedigree is there, and the prime minister, obviously, one of the stalwarts in Eastern Caribbean. Utmost respect for him, and it is what it is. Yeah.
Okay, that's good, Kamal. That's good, man. So, what do you have planned now for you now? What's Kamal going to do now? What's your life going to look like now moving forward? But so outside of CBI, what's Kamal's interests?
I have my family, so I have my wife, 2 sons. That's my biggest outside of work. This is how I obviously spend my time. Need to be a good dad for my kids, and they need to make sure that they're provided for. Separate and apart from that, traveling, I really enjoy traveling. I'm really happy that my job allows me that freedom as well. Today I could be in Dubai, tomorrow I could be in UK or Caribbean.
You're a jet setter. Yeah. Let me ask you a personal question. Is your wife from Russia, Dubai, or Antigua?
No, my Russian.
You always married a Russian woman. Okay, good, man. You met someone over there while you were in school. That's good.
Which is why, as I said, these are the most amicable people in the world to me.
Gotcha. That's good, man, Kamal. And she knows your business. She helps you with your business. She gets everything done for you and all that kind of stuff.
No, well, she's supportive. Very supportive. But in terms of business, it's not like I have a requirement that because it's not always the best idea to mix the family with business. But if support is necessary, she does. I mean, I speak Russian, so I'm able to find the clientele myself, and But she's very supportive. Yeah.
That's good. That's good, Kamal. So how much of your stock now grown inside Dubai now? Because you're incredibly a hot commodity now, right? So how has your stock grown in Dubai? How have people and the elites in Dubai received you since you came from Russia?
I've had very positive feedback from the clients that I work with. As I said, even the PR that we got, which was quite negative, then having that sales element to the business, I even use that.
Use that as fuel. Yeah.
No, I mean, media wise, they say that even bad PR is good PR. In that sense, right? So I mean, if a story like that came out, then I'm not really shy of saying to a client, hey man, this happened. And we the people like the heart-to-heart type situation. And the thing is, in this business, if you have clients who are wishing to apply for this type of documentation, then if news gets out that you're involved in that business, that doesn't really affect, you see,
Yeah.
in terms of business. But I like to be straightforward with people, and I think I'm fairly well known in the
Mm.
business. So there's nothing I can hide or duck from or whatever. This happened, and I been very direct with my clients about it.
Yeah. This you keep reverting to it though. This kind of shocked you, man. You keep reverting to it. I mean, is it still a lingering effect to some extent? People still ask you about it when they see you.
Nobody talks about it directly, but I'm sure that obviously it was a big thing. But I mean, it's still something I'm getting over.
Mm.
It's still something that I'm getting over. I was very no. The most painful part of it is obviously, as I said, what transpired with Antigua, but not the article itself, because as I said,
Okay.
this could have been about anybody, and it happens. I've seen articles written about other firms
Yeah,
bigger
I
than
know,
me,
I know,
right?
I know, I
So,
know.
but
Did you plan
but
on suing
prof-
the publication that put the story out, that ran the story? Did you plan on suing?
yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak on that and what is like I don't want to discuss that because obviously this is we're live, right? So this
Mm.
is going to be in the public domain, so I don't
Yeah.
want to speak on that. But safe to suffice that I mean, this happened, and it's only made me, I believe, stronger.
Yeah.
RCBI wise, um, it sort of made me famous. So
They brought more customers to you, man. That's amazing. They brought more customers to
yeah,
you, come
yeah.
out.
Sorry,
Did it bring more customers to you?
it definitely brought me more
Wow.
attention, yeah, and
Oh,
customers, yeah, for sure,
oh
for
wow.
sure.
That's good. That's good. That's good, Kamal. So, prickly question. Prickly question. Did you run into any unsavory characters throughout your business getting passports for Eastern Europeans? Did you run across something that you say absolutely not? We can't do this passport for you.
Yeah, I mean, when you first of all you do due diligence checks.
Mm.
There's individuals who have some people have very unsavory details listed about them, etc., and we let them know that we cannot work with them. You know,
Mm. I got you.
it of course it happens at the very first level of this business. There's supposed to be due diligence,
Mm.
and if you identify that the client is shady, then you can't work with him.
Mm. I got you. I got
You're
you.
the first sort of vet of the situation. You're supposed to
Mm.
check what happened.
Mm.
You're supposed to check the client. You're supposed to do KYC, and if he
Mm.
gets past you, then it's a bad look on your company.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. And what's it? I didn't think you never said the name of your company. What's the name of your company, Kamal?
The C Invest migration. So C Invest
C
is
Invest.
Citizenship Invest, yeah,
Okay.
migration, right?
C Invest Migration. Wow. How long have you been in business
Yeah,
now
yeah,
for?
yeah. I'm a registered sub agent of the Grenada program, and we started with Grenada, as I said, because it's a very hot market right now. But
Mm.
as time goes on, God's willing, we'll conquer the whole world.
I got you. So you have plans on doing passports for other countries like Malta and Singapore, or you just want to stick in the Caribbean?
Absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely. I mean, this is a business that I know and love, and I plan to do full time.
I got you. I got you. Okay, Mr. Kemal Nicholson. Any final thoughts? How you see things going for you? 2023. Anything else you want to say, Kemal?
2023, I think is going to be a great year. I think it's actually
Mm,
started out very well.
mm,
Um, RCBI wise, and have been getting a lot of good press, good feedback. Actually, as it relates to even this matter,
mm,
so the Integrity Commission in Grenada would have let me know quite clearly that I'm not even a person of interest as it relates to their investigation.
that's good. That's
So
good.
the year started off in a great manner. So professional wise, this is also very important to me. I can show to my clients that I have not, done anything wrong. So that was a great start to my year as well.
Yeah,
And I
that's
mean,
good.
business wise, my network is just growing. It's growing astronomically
Yes, yes,
in
yes.
terms of clients. Once you're in the business, really, there's no real way that if you've done couple passports for a few people, there's no way that 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 one article is going to get you out of the business.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
it's a great start to the year, and step by step, we'll move forward.
Well, Kemal Nicholson, thank you so much for joining us here on the LimeVibe podcast. I really appreciate it, man. You're doing such a great job, man. I like to see you upbeat. I like that you're upbeat and you didn't let this one setback set you back at all. You didn't let
Thank you,
that
brother.
stop you at all. I wish you
No,
all
we
the
got to
best.
move forward. Thank you, brother. All right.
I wish you
Thank you.
all the best, Kemal. So there we are.
Thank
That's
you.
Kemal Nicholson, the owner operator of C Invest, a citizenship by investment company based out of Dubai, incorporated in Antigua and Barbuda. Kemal Nicholson, thank you so much once again.
Thank you, brother. All right.
Okay. This is Yori Camp signing off a LimeVibe podcast, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Goodbye.